Dear friends, heavy snowfall has kept word sparse about our beloved little island, but a few tales have made their way through.
I've heard tell of a lost present, high-speed delays, and a near-disastrous journey along the Skarloey line.
You and I know, however, that the engines are determined at this time of year, so we must hope for a happy ending.
I cannot tell you if there is one. That you must see for yourselves. James was flustered. You could be useful, you know, Percy. Leaving me to do all the shunting, how's that fair? I am trying, James. I just can't make steam. Rubbish. You're bluffing because you don't want to be out in the cold. Not true. How cold is it? A blue car swerved into the yard. The fat controller had come to visit the engines. Good morning, Percy, James. How are you finding the workload? Some of us aren't finding it anything. Just a bit of trouble raising steam, sir. I'll be helping out soon. I certainly hope so, Percy, because as you know, today is one of the busiest of the year. It's important that everything runs on time. What's that, sir? Percy noticed a brown, crumpled package in the fat controller's hand. Oh, all this? Ah, it's my Christmas present to Lady Hat. She's waiting in the car. We're off to town for some last-minute shopping. Do you like it, Percy? It's hideous. Percy! I just mean that it isn't all that festive, sir. Honestly, sir, it looks like one of the mail train parcels. You have a point. I'll try and get some wrapping paper in town when the wife's not looking. That'll be her wanting to go. But you'll see the present when you get back in the car, sir. Oh, heck, you're right. Well, Percy, if you aren't out shunting, then I'll entrust you to look after this until I return. But I... No ifs or buts. Must keep the schedule. On the way, my dear. You airhead, huh? What are you doing, saying a thing like that? Now we have to keep the fat controller's present safe. No, James, I do. You can handle the shunting. A workman placed it on a barrel next to Percy. He was pleased with his job at first, but soon grew bored. Come on! James, meanwhile, was working hard. He had twice as many trains to arrange. Morning, Percy. Not up yet? No, I'm busy anyway, because the fat controller has me looking after a special package. Does he now? Silly engine. I suppose some of us have time for that kind of job. I think something must be jammed, Percy. We'll have you running soon. I certainly hope so. I've literally worked hard enough for 2 engines. Then James stopped. He noticed something. Where's the parcel, Percy? The present! The one thing the fat controller asked you to keep an eye on. Oh, great. It must have been moved. Oh, heavens. You don't think that... Oh, no. Thomas, come back! This can't be happening. This cannot be happening. Then, everything happened at once. Aha! Oh, look, James, I'm moving. Here we go. Yes, finally to be useful. You, and only you, could both lose a present and break it. Just a moment, dear. Need to collect something. Quick, chaps, hide the present. Can't let Lady Hat see. Oh, bother. Hello, engines. What's that, Charles? That's, your Christmas present, dear. Goodness, someone squashed it. Percy cut him before James could say anything. It was me, ma'am. I'm very sorry. No, Percy. It was my fault. I shouldn't have left it in the sheds, where something like, this could happen. Very sorry, dear. Are you alright, Percy? Is that a bulb? It must have been plugged in your funnel, Percy. For you, ma'am, from Percy and the rest of us. Oh, how lovely. Well, Topham, if it isn't the thought that counts. Quite right, my dear. Quite right. James laughed. I thought presents went down chimneys, Percy. Not out of them. I hope your next trick is doing some work. Percy smiled back.
In the winter, some passengers can wait, whilst others want the fastest train home. Pip and Emma are a high-speed connection. Between you and I, they can be quite spirited travellers.
Tight schedule, Emma, but we're doing well. We'd be faster if I was in front.
The two were taking a fast train to London and wouldn't be back anytime soon. As such, they had to keep strictly to time.
Oh, fudge. Where's there? A tree. And we're going so nicely too. Hey up! Look who it is. I can't, Emma. That's a physical impossibility. But it sounds like... Duck!
It looks like you two could do with some help.
Pip and I are very glad to see you. Philippa, Emma. Thank you, Duck.
Before long, the line had been cleared, and the train got moving again. Goodbye, and Merry Christmas!
Nice of Duck to help us out, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Let's just focus on picking up pace.
Speed restrictions on the line ahead. You won't be able to continue until Henry has cleared the section.
This is ridiculous. How on earth are we supposed to keep to time? It's just safety, Pip. Philippa. Everyone's dealing with it. The passengers will understand.
Go, relieve, Harry. Little something for the journey. Ooh, thank you, Joe.
Oh. Wow! Would you look at that?
Aye, that's our tree. It's big enough to be seen from miles away.
Come on. You wouldn't get that on the other railway. No, you wouldn't.
With the restrictions in place, Emma was able to take a good look at what was around her.
They haven't done things by halves, have they? Ooh, that'll look nice lit up. Look, Pip, the children, they're making a snowman. Huh? Not again. What is it now? Emma? Yeah? Why have we stopped, Emma? Oh, I don't know. Must have been a fault in my brakes or something. Don't tell me you're holding us up too. All this restarting. We're an express, Emma. We aren't meant to stop. What about the workstation? The workstation doesn't count. Now come on, stop being silly. Come on, Emma! What's wrong? I'll miss all of this when we get to London. Christmas seems so nice here, but we'll just be missing it. Get to look forward, but I just keep seeing what we're leaving behind. We'll make the best of it, Emma, I promise. But just because you don't want to go doesn't change our passengers needing to. They have friends and families waiting to see them. Yeah. Sorry, Philippa. Let's see if we can make up for lost time.
So they did. They were back on schedule by the time they reached the workstation.
We did it! We did it! Not there yet. No, not quite, but we're doing very well. I'm sorry about earlier, Emma. I haven't been all that jovial. I feel much better now.
Sorry to ruin the mood, but I've just had a call from the mainland. They want to arrange for a fast service back tomorrow, but are short on engines. Would you two be able to do that?
I'm not sure. What do you reckon, Emma? Yeah, I think we could do that.
Duke was excited. In line with the festivities of the season, the Thin Controller had informed him that he would be taking his new grace on a tour of the line. "This takes me back," he simmered. "Special runs through the picturesque countryside. Oh, quite a regal occasion indeed." Duncan tittered. "Oh, you're welcome to it, the rotten stuff." A fireman was unclogging his funnel, which had filled up with snow overnight. They had heated the shovel beforehand, and the melted snow slithered down his boiler and onto his running board. Duncan shivered. Duke chuckled. Once Duncan had been sorted, the fireman and the other workmen turned their attention to the elderly engine. They painted over his smudges and polished his brasswork, and by the time they had finished, Duke felt rather special indeed. They were just admiring their handiwork when the visitor arrived. "Oh, this is your new Duke," the Thin Controller announced. Duke was rather surprised. "Not quite, actually," Sir Robert Norramby put in. "I'm an Earl, you see, but well, it's close enough, I suppose." The poor engine wasn't sure what to make of his new grace. He hadn't expected it to be the owner of Ulfstead Castle. "Do you have an interest in engines?" Duke quizzed. The Earl beamed. "Oh, yes, of course. We've got quite a few up at the castle. Well, our line is nothing like yours, though, I'm quite sure." "You'll have to see for yourself," smiled the Thin Controller. Duke began to simmer. "I'll go and collect the coaches, sir." "Oh, well, that won't be necessary, old chap. I've brought one." "I didn't know that was happening," the Thin Controller said, rather perplexed. Norramby was quick to console. "Well, we've been restoring it, you see. Not quite done yet, but I thought we'd give it a spin today regardless. It is an inspection coach, after all." With bolts wobbling and wheels rattling, Duke pulled his one-coach train along the line. He went very carefully, but every now and then the carriage's brakes would slip on, and he would find himself jolted. He was not enjoying himself. Sir Robert Norramby stared out at the snowy landscape in awe. "This is simply wonderful, Percival, truly. I absolutely love the rockin' and the rolling on the track. Oh, it's very authentic." The Thin Controller hadn't the heart to explain that it was the coach. When they reached the loop line, the Earl asked that they stop so he could get out and take some pictures. Duke was glad to catch his breath. He was very out of puff. The Thin Controller was sympathetic, however. "Oh, well, you're doing very well, old boy." "Thank you, sir. It isn't easy pulling that thing. I'm quite tired out." "Don't worry," his driver comforted. "We'll get a drink at the next station." But the water column at the next station was frozen over, so they had to keep going. Poor Duke was wheezing by now. "Oh, most undignified," he rasped. Thick clouds of smoke plumed from his funnel. With one final puff, he sidled to a stop on a lonesome patch of the line. The crew wondered what had gone wrong when... "Fizzled the Festiniog!" his driver cried. The safety valve had broken and Duke's pressure gauge was higher than ever. Without water, the engine couldn't go on. Is something the matter?" Norramby inquired. "Oh, well, nothing really," replied the Thin Controller nervously. "We've stopped so that you can take some more photos. You're very kind." The crew were frantic until Duke made a suggestion, who had been thinking back to earlier in the day. "Perhaps," he ventured, fit to burst, "we could melt the snow over my firebox. That might even things out." It was the only idea they had, so they tried it. Duke felt better at once. He could melt the snow quickly, and before long there was a nice supply of water to his tanks. They quickly got going again, and kept a good speed. By the time they'd reached the bottom station, they'd caught up with their schedule, and their passenger, most importantly, was none the wiser about the incident. "What a magnificent journey," he praised. "I've got some lovely photos, and to stop for me not only once, but twice, was ever so considerate, Duke. I'll be sure to return in the spring and bring all of my friends. They'll be so glad to hear of such a marvellous little railway." "Thank you, Duke. Thank you, Mr. Percival." The thin controller smiled as the Earl went into the tea rooms. "I'm very proud of you, you know. Well, that was some classic initiative, Duke. But the thin controller trailed off, for the old engine was fast asleep. He deserved it, after all. Duke had saved the day, gracefully.
There's nothing for it, Edward, said his driver with a frown. Jammed tender brakes are nasty business. There's just no time to fix you. The old engine was sad, but he understood. It was Christmas Eve. The stations were packed with people. The railway was trying hard to keep on top of it all. Have you fixed your engine yet? Fixed him? I wouldn't know where to start. Well, that's just brilliant, isn't it? All these passengers, no train. Edward was curious. Why is everyone outside, sir? Waiting room boilers broken. Won't send a man to fix it until Boxing Day. I've brought in the carolers from the station forecourt, but we're getting a little restless for my liking. What if the passengers use my carriages as a waiting room, sir? I'm still in steam. I could keep the coaches warm for them. It's all well and good, but it doesn't solve them getting anywhere. Off to my office. Hello, Henry. Good day. Oh, what's so good about it? Delayed by the other railway again. It's a wonder, frankly, that they get anything done. Speaking of which... Oh, my tender brakes have failed, Henry. Could have happened to any engine, but it would happen today when we're busier than ever. All these wayward fixtures and last-minute changes. It's hard to keep track of it all. Speaking of which, aren't I on the wrong line?
You most certainly are. Get out of my way, Henry.
I can't. Waiting for my passengers from... Bertie Bus.
Bertie Bus? Really, Edward, a bus?
A bus, yes. I've had a word with Bertie. He'll be bringing the passengers for you.
But a bus?
A bus?
Shameful.
Excuse me, is this the train to Tidmouth? I'd ask the station master, but there's nowhere to be found. Ah, well, the train to Tidmouth is just about to arrive on platform 2, madam. A bus indeed, how undignified. Edward was kept very busy that day. His driver kept him in steam, and many on the platform were grateful for the cosy retreat his carriages offered. He was not lonely either, for others would often come up and ask him when their trains would arrive, or where the bus was, and of course, the carolers continued to sing. Gordon and Henry continued to pass by, always in a hurry, always too busy to exchange anything other than a friendly peep to poor Edward.
Ooh, Gordon!
What are you doing?
I'm pulling a train, Edward. Something you can't... Ooh! Ooh! All chained?
Not likely. Half your passengers are stuck in their carriages, Gordon. Your driver can go tell the signalman and he'll let you back onto the main line. The driver did so, and Gordon was most grateful to be back on the right line, even if he had to take Edward's word for it.
Thank you for stopping me. Dratted turntable on the other railway jammed, you see. It's a shame of it.
At least your passengers will be on their way now. What are those things on your wheels? They're wheel skates.
Wheel skates? You're too big to go skating.
Edward laughed. They lift my wheels up from the rails so I can move freely. Boko put me on the siding so your last trains can get through. They'll be seeing you at the big station later on then? I don't think so. My fire's out. Everyone's on their last runs. I doubt I'll be home for a long time.
A shame.
You have been splendid, Edward. Keeping our passengers warm, sorting out their bus,
Saving me from my crash.
and covering that silly station master with the code. Goodbye, Edward.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.